Gayle King and Charles Barkley. They have a show on CNN currently called The King Charles Show, which is a mixture of both of their names together. And on this show, they would have various guests and contributors come on and talk about topics relating to the United States and the world, rather. Things such as current events, cultural issues, the upcoming election, racism, inequality, and all these kind of topics that, well, like I said, affect the United States and mainly the world at large, depending on what it is. And recently, Charles Barkley had a horrible take concerning the 45th president of the United States of America, in which Charles Barkley said that if he saw anyone possibly of African-American descent wearing some apparel with the 45th president's mugshot on it, that he would do something physically harmful to these individuals. And later on, he had to explain this statement, in which it was kind of a pseudo apology, but also he doubled down on what he said. So we had that going on, right? Well, unfortunately, most of you, not that you would care, but we will not have to worry about any of these horrible takes from Mr. Charles Barkley anymore. And why would I say that? Well, I want you all to take a victory lap, if you haven't done so already, while I explain the current status and situation of this show. So without further ado, welcome to Normieville.
I can't say anymore. I'm probably already in trouble for mentioning it to a, well, we call you normies.
So as you can see here, I regret to inform you from the New York Post here, as you can see, CNN axes Charles Barkley and Gayle King's weekly show, King Charles, after 6 months. Yeah. I mean, sorry to see it go. Not really. But after 6 months, the show is now terminated. Let's have a round of applause. Yep. I'm glad too. How are you? How about you? Let's get into the article and see why this show is about to get cut, like many other shows on these news stations that really aren't worth a damn. Let's read.
Congratulations! Oh my God.
The CNN Weekly Prime Talk Show host, the CNN Weekly Prime Time Talk Show co-hosted by basketball loudmouth, yes indeed, Charles Barkley, and CBS Morning Star Gayle King has ended a 6-month run that failed to produce ratings. Now, we all know Charles Barkley. He has a very, very successful pre and post game basketball game show on TNT. We all love it, along with his, his co-host Kenny and Shaq and the other guys on there. And it's a great show. Talking about sports with Charles Barkley, great. Talking about politics and social issues with Charles Barkley, terrible. Also, Gayle King, very great interviewer, right? She's interviewed the likes of R. Kelly and who was the other guy that the fake that crime in Chicago, all those other guys, right? She does a great job of interviewing, great. Talking about political topics, not so great. The weekly call-in show King Charles, which aired at 10 p.m., which is a horrible time slot, by the way, 10 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday nights, failed to generate more viewers than reruns of the sitcom Friends and episodes of South Park. South Park is a wonderful show, by the way. I love it. It's funny. It's hilarious. It was the lowest rated primetime weeknight series debut for CNN in at least a decade, according to Nielsen. The lowest rated primetime weeknight series. Wow. When the show launched in November, CNN said it planned to air it through the early spring. Now, the shows that they just talked about, Friends and South Park, those are actually very popular TV shows. So I don't know why they would compare this show to those. I mean, because that's not in the same ballpark, to be honest with you. But the lowest rated primetime weeknight show on CNN for a decade, now that's a record right there, okay? That's a record. An industry source told the Post that the show was limited by Barkley's schedule. I'm pretty sure that's not the only reason why. The NBA Hall of Famer could only do the show on Wednesdays due to his other commitments, namely his role as the co-host of the popular Inside the NBA on CNN's sister station TNT, according to a source close to the network. Yes, that show, everybody loves Charles Barkley on that show because he has very good opinions. He is a Hall of Fame basketball player, and we value his opinion as a basketball player along with his co-host on the show. I mean, there Charles Barkley shines, right? But now on this show, the King Charles show, okay? Barkley had mentioned that his crowded schedule made it more difficult for the show to attract a loyal following. To be honest with you, I don't know why they would even premiere this show if they could only record it once a week. That's not long enough. That's not enough, consistency to get a following for the show in the first place. Since debuting in November, King Charles viewership fell 20%. The first airing was watched by 500,000 total viewers and 139 in the advertiser-coveted 25 to 54 age demographic, according to Nielsen. The show's January 31st episode failed to crack the 100,000 viewer threshold in the 25 to 54 demo, the first time it couldn't reach the six-figure mark, the Nielsen numbers show. Well, I tell you what, from November to January 31st, that's really only a couple months depending on when in November they premiered it. So the first show was like, oh, we're going to see how it is, right? Of course, the premiere gets a lot of people because they want to see how it turns, how it kind of shakes out, right? They want to see the format, who's on there, all that kind of stuff, right? The music, the ending, who they have on the show, the guests. But after the first probably couple weeks of the show and the fact they only got it on once a week, well, that 500,000 total viewers fizzled out probably fairly quickly. A CNN spokesperson said that the show was a great addition to the CNN Now lineup. That's probably cap.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
Was a great addition to CNN's lineup, and that the viewership was among the youngest, most affluent, and most diverse audience in cable during its time slot. I'm pretty sure they're putting a lot of fluff on that, okay? The most affluent, young, and most diverse. Well, again, you have two African Americans on the show, so of course you're probably going to hear that. Most diverse mean there's probably a lot of black people watching, okay? Most affluent, I don't know. And the youngest, of course, is CNN, right? But there are a lot of factors, as I've already laid out for you, why this show was an epic failure. Mainly because he can only do it once a week. And two, nobody really wanted to hear him talk about politics and things of that nature. We love, again, Charles Barkley, you're a sports guy. Gayle King, you're an interviewer. You ask the right questions. You know how to steer these people to tell truths about themselves. It's things like that. But you two together, really, their chemistry wasn't that great either to me. I watched a few episodes of the show outside of what Charles Barkley said about the mugshot thing. I think their chemistry was actually kind of fake. I really don't think they did well together at all myself either. The spokesperson noted that King Charles attracted an audience that was 44% non-white, the most diverse viewership among the network's primetime shows, according to Nielsen figures. King Charles was the brainchild of Chris Licht, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the former CNN boss who was unceremoniously fired last year after an unflattering magazine profile portrayed him as a thin-skinned manager who alienates staffers and was jealous of their longing for his predecessor, Jeff Zucker. In its March 13th episode, generated just 416,000 total viewers, a 17% drop compared to the 457,000 total viewers who turned in a week prior. So there was a drop there too. In the 25 to 45 demo, the March 31st episode drew 43% fewer viewers compared to the premiere in late November, as well as a 52% drop in the 18 to 49 age demographic compared to the November 29 show. So this aired November 29th. The viewership dropped as of January, and now it's March 13th. Yeah. I mean, we ain't got to read no more of this article, right? This show was doomed to fail from the start. After Charles Barkley said that bull crap he said a few weeks ago, it was even worse. I don't want to see either of these two people talking about anything to do with politics or anything like that. Gayle King, please stick to the morning show you have and interviewing high-profile celebrities. Charles Barkley, please stick to talking about basketball and sports, right? We don't want to hear either of you talk about anything outside of that, all right? You're great at what your profession is. Anything outside of that, for YouTube specifically, stay out of it. Don't touch, okay? And that's just my opinion on it. What do y'all think about it? All right, let me know your take. And with that being said, thank you for attending another episode of Normieville. You know me, I'm just over here to bring you the latest and greatest in sports, news, entertainment, and politics. Let me know what you think about the demise of this show down in the comment section. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell on your way out of the door. Also, become a member of my channel for just $5 a month. You will have access to members-only videos and members-only live streams, as well as a host of other perks. And I'll see you on the next video.